I never believed the rumors. Well, not at first. I've been in Hive Chorus long enough to know that whispers in the underbelly of this place are just as constant as the fumes in the air, and just as toxic. The gangs, the violence, the countless murders, they're nothing new. Just another day. Just another corpse in the gutter. But then, things started to change. I'm not even sure when I first heard the stories. It was just something that slowly wormed its way into your mind, like the air that clogs your lungs after too long in the lower levels. At first, it was just some rants about a few of the drunks at the bar. A butcher, they say. Some kind of butcher. I figured it was just another sick joke. That's how bad things were here. People were always terrified of something, and it usually turned out to be nothing more than a gang war gone wrong, or a mutant culling gone sideways. But this time, it was different. It was the eyes that got to me. I saw the first body about a week ago. It was just another misplaced corpse in the lower hive. I was called in by the local enforcers, just another patrol. Another dull investigation, I thought. I've seen it all. Bodies disfigured by gang fights, blood-soaked alleyways, the stench of death hanging like a shroud over every corner of this place. But this felt different. The body was in a narrow alleyway, half hidden by a rusted scrap heap. At first glance, I thought it was some poor bastard who'd been caught in a gang initiation. That's what I told myself. But as I got closer, something about this corpse didn't feel right. The eyes. Those lifeless eyes. They were staring straight at me. And I meant really staring. And they weren't just vacant, like a corpse's eyes should be. They looked aware. I knelt down, trying to steady my shaking hands as I searched for a pulse. Of course, there was none. And that's when I saw it. A gaping wound, torn open along the man's chest, like something had sliced through the bone and muscle with a surgical precision. The flesh had been removed in long, jagged strips. And that wasn't just it. There was something inside the body. Some kind of strange, oily fluid, thick and black like the sludge from a waste disposal vent. It was leaking out, pooling around the body as if the person had been drained. I should have called for backup, but something kept me there. Something in the air. Something that made me feel like I was being watched. I turned around for a moment, and that's when I heard it. A low, sickening clicking noise. Something mechanical. It came from the shadows, and then a whisper. "Do you see it now?" I froze. The whisper was in my ear, cold and venomous, but there was nobody here. Just shadows. Just dark. I left the alley in a hurry, and I didn't report it. I couldn't. I knew there was something wrong, but I couldn't bring myself to confront it. Not yet. Not until it would happen again. It was 2 nights later when I found the second body. This one was worse. It was in a decrepit old hab district near the lower levels. The kind of place where people don't live so much as exist, until they don't, and then nobody cares. The corpse was hanging from a ceiling, suspended by wires, as if it had been arranged there, and the worst part was the skin. The skin had been peeled off completely, like someone had stripped it away from the bone, layer by layer. And there was no obvious signs of violence, no blood, but the stench was what hit me first. It was like rotten meat and something metallic. And then my world became black. A bag was put over my head, and then something pinched my back. I couldn't move soon after. I knew he had this prepared for me, and he wanted me to wait and watch as well. But that would be the end for me. My name's Kalen Durs, Enforcer, 3rd class. I've walked the veins of this hive for 19 years, and I've seen things that make a Catachan trooper piss acid. I've shot gangsters so high on stim paste, broken up cult cells, and even put down a few rogue servitors. But none of it prepared me for him. They called him the Flayer of Steel Row. Stupid name if you ask me. Sounds like something the propaganda scribes came up with to sell more fear. But the bodies were real, skinned alive, guts spread out like parade streamers, flesh peeling in long, clean sheets. Some twisted bastard was making tapestries from their victims. We'd lost another enforcer recently. No clues, no leads, just mutilated corpses dumped in the same forgotten stench of the underhive. The kind of place that even the scabies avoid. But this bastard slipped up. A picked feed, blurry, damaged, but clear enough. He was a tall figure clad in rags and surgical robes, dragging a body into an old manufactorum. We traced the feed to an ancient cogitator nest deep below the main power grid. The precinct commander didn't want to waste any more manpower, so I volunteered to go in alone. I've hunted worse things, or so I thought. I entered through an old mag train tunnel, the kind only rats and madmen use these days. My auspex was dead within minutes, interference, or maybe something else, so I had to rely on old instincts and the dim green glow of my lumen lamp. The manufactorum loomed out of the dark like a dying cathedral. Towers bent under their own weight, broken cranes dangled like snapped limbs, and everything was quiet, not still. There was movement, breathing. The walls breathed. I crept through rust-choked corridors and past old conveyor lines crusted with dried blood and something else. That's when I found the first sign. A symbol carved into a support beam, not chaos, or at least any cult I recognized. Just a circle, simple and innocent, except it wasn't. It was made from human teeth, fused into the metal. I should have called it in, but I was far too gone. My pride had taken over, and I needed this. I wanted him. That's when I heard it, whistling, almost childlike, very soft, a tune I couldn't place, echoing through the metal bones of the hive. I followed it like a grox chasing a scent. I should have run. But he was in the central chamber. The walls were covered in skin. Skins, plural. Stretched, tanned, dyed, and inks with filth. Faces stitched together like some demon's patchwork. He was there at the center, hunched over a table, humming that goddamn tune while stitching a hand onto a torso that wasn't its own. He didn't flinch when I raised my Arbonite-issued shotgun. He just kept working. "You're late," he said, a voice smooth as oil but hollow, like he had forgotten what emotion was supposed to sound like. I demanded he raise his hands. He didn't. "You'll ruin it," he said, still stitching. "This one is almost done. Took me so long to find the right pieces." I took a step forward, and the floor squelched. I looked down. Bone mulch. Bone, sinew, cartilage. My boots were ankle deep in death. I said, and he turned, "The Emperor wishes he hadn't." His face, if you could call it that, was a stretched, seamless mask. Not skin, not metal, but both, grafted onto his skull like a sculptor's experiment. No eyes, just two narrow glass lenses embedded into the sockets, with tiny servo motors twitching inside them. His hands were surgical tools fused to the bone, finger bones replaced by needle-like prongs and auto syringes. A tech priest's nightmare, a heretic in flesh. "Don't shoot," he whispered. "You'll damage the merchandise." I fired anyway. The first shell hit him center mass, dropped him. As he coughed up blood, I could hear him whisper, "It's far from over. You think I killed those people? That it was just me? You're wrong. They wanted me to do it. They guided me." His eyes flickered with something he couldn't quite place. Something hungry. And he continued, "You've caught me, but you'll never stop what's coming. You see, the ritual isn't finished. You think I was the killer, but I was just the vessel. The real thing is still out there. And now that it's been freed, the hunt begins again." "What are you talking about? Tell me." "The thing that's been whispering to me, to all of us. It's not bound by time or space. It feeds on fear, pain. The more you try to stop it, the stronger it becomes. It's already been here for years. waiting, watching. For sure, you felt its presence, haven't you? The lights began to flicker, casting eerie shadows all across the room. A sudden deafening crash echoed from the hallway, followed by the sound of distant screams. I ran to the door to open it to see what could be happening, and that's when he began to call out, "Remember, you can never escape the things you've let in. It's already too late." With a shiver crawling down my spine, I panicked. I could hear strange whispers, almost inaudible over all the chaos around me. I finally managed to open the door, but as I stepped out into the darkness, I heard a whisper in my head. "It's never over, it's just beginning." And the door slammed behind me. And with that being said, guys, that is the first creepypasta of Hollow Week, a whole week dedicated to the horror aspect of Warhammer 40K. So here we see a couple detectives trying to figure out a series of murders, and it turns out that while it is just a man doing all these heinous things, either he's gone crazy or there's a little bit of chaos going on here. But if you guys like this type of creepypasta, check out the previous years. We've done a whole slew of creepy 40K stories, and we've got more coming. So again, guys, like, comment, share, and as always, hit that hype button. It's the new thing YouTube's been doing, so that would really help the channel. And yeah, that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. This has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you then. Peace.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.